job. Is it going to be a harder day today? Maybe. Maybe harder today. A lot of activity. Lots of activity today. Lots of movement. Good girl. There she is. There's my pearl. There's my pearl. Good job. Good. That's right. That's a good girl. You got it. You can do it. Yeah. Good. That's right. That's right. Good job. Girl. That's right. That's a good girl. Now we're simmering down. There you go. Ready? Get it. Yeah, good girl. Oh, you lost that one. That's okay. Here's another. Here's freebie. You want to try to get it? I don't think you can get to it. Good job. Good girl. That's a very good girl. There's a person there. Perfect. Good. Good job. There you go. Now you can move better. Good job. Truck behind us. Person moving carts. Good girl. I see. That's good. Good job. Second person bringing stuff to their vehicle. They're about 50 to 60 feet away from us. Good girl. Good. The woof, we have 2 people rolling out another big cart, so we have 4 total people within 100 total feet of us. Some closer. Good work. Now, literally two sessions ago, she would have been way over threshold with this. Good girl. That's right. That's my lady. That's my good lady. Good job. That's very good. Doing nice. That's exactly right. Exactly right. Good girl. Good girl. That's perfect. She's getting more in the zone now, so she's acclimating to being in the space. And she's been acclimating quicker and quicker every time we've come here. You get it? There you go. Good girl. She's a little more little more vigilant today, I think. It could have to do with I'm working her earlier in the day, so she's not had as much physical exercise yet or mental enrichment. So that may have her a little more on edge. I see there's another person. So there's a person in safety yellow walking towards us. And people moving towards us is always more of a threat to her, even if they're coming from a distance. So they've stopped. They're moving carts. They're about 50 feet away. She's going to watch them pretty intently, and I'm not going to click and treat until she can watch quietly and then disengage and look at me. And if she chooses not to, that's fine too, ultimately, as long as she doesn't go over threshold with good girl. That intensive barking, I'm not going to, we're not going to worry about it too much. That's good work. That is such good work. Yeah, that's right. That's good girl. Ready? Is she ready? Good girl. Good catch. Good job. That's very good. So being a border collie, Pearl really likes to visually track things and chase things. So occasionally you'll see me deliver a treat. So I'll click, I'll say ready, and then I'll reach for my treat. And then just before I throw it, I'll say, get it. Oh, good girl. Good job. So that she gets to indulge in that very instinctual behavior of chasing. That can make your food value much higher with a dog like her. Good job. That's nice. Yeah. I don't deliver all treats that way with her, but some I do. And there's times where I want to indulge that interest in chasing and visually tracking things, and then there's times where I don't really want to build her arousal too much, so I will choose not to. Good girl. That's very nice. I hear that. Good job. A couple walking into Lowe's, so that didn't cause her much concern. They're moving away from us, and they started at a pretty fair distance. Still going to click treat because we click treat for all people she sees and does not react to. Good job. That guy in the safety yellow that she barked at before, he's moving back towards us. Let's see if she can look without barking this time. Little woof. Good job. That's my good girl. I'm actually going to go ahead and click treat that one. That's a low woof. I'm not going to stress about it, and that was good. That's very, yeah. So on the second look, she didn't react to that, and he's closer than he was before. Good job. Good work, lady. That's so nice. Just a car. Yeah, that's just a car. Good girl. That's right, girl. That's right. Good job. You ready? She's ready. Yeah, good job. That's good. Good work. There's someone who's just pulled in behind us. Probably about 50 feet away, and they do have a trailer. She's not noticed them yet. Now, this is a situation where we could have one of those sudden appearance of a trigger at threshold distance or over threshold distance. So as in too close for her. So we always have to be aware of those situations. Sometimes you will choose to distract her until that trigger moves away so that she doesn't actually have to engage with it. And that's not a training moment, that's a management moment, but that's fine. You'd rather do that than have an over threshold experience. Alternatively, if she's a little more progressed in her training, like with me, if she notices that trigger, I'm actually going to use this as an opportunity to see how she's handling, how she's progressing with sudden appearance triggers. Because right now, this person, they are probably 50 feet from us, behind us, and I personally think she's capable of handling that. Hi, baby. I know you like your armpit scratchings. You like your armpit scratchings. Yes, you do. I know. My baby girl. You're my sweet baby girl. Yes, you are. She is very, very good. Are you loving today? Are you having a lovely day? Yeah. Are we having a lovely day? That's good. I think she can probably handle that trigger. So that would be something where if she had turned around, she didn't. She wanted to get love from me. If she had turned around, I probably would have clicked upon seeing that trigger, because that's a situation where if she will look without barking at all at that trigger that appears suddenly at threshold distance, I don't want to wait and require her to look away in order to get a click treat. I would go ahead, click treat, and then as she continues to watch, I would see if she could move towards disengaging to click treat. Nice girl. She thought she saw a bird in a tree. It's not. It's just a leaf, but she got a little excited about that just then. We have another person moving out with a cart. Yeah, that's right. That's correct. That's a good girl. That's right. That's my good lady. That's good. Good job. That's my sweet girl. Good job. That's good. Oh, okay. Wow. That's great. So, good girl. She saw something and I didn't actually, I could tell she saw something. I couldn't personally see what it was. But she saw something, disengaged, looked to me, so I clicked treated because I didn't. Clearly, she had seen something. I just wasn't aware of what it was. And it was actually another person behind us at probably only 30 feet. They were getting in their vehicle, and she watched them without reacting, so that's really good. That's really, really good. We have a person moving out, moving towards us again. We'll see if we get a wolf with this one. They're pretty far. Now we have a second. There's a couple moving out. Same distance, but there's more people, so we're going to get some woofing. Hopefully not an actual reaction. That's my girl. That's my girl. Yeah, you ready? Oh, she's ready. Get it. Yeah, good job. You ready? Yeah, good job. That's a good girl. That's right. That's exactly right. Yeah. That's my lady. Yeah. We've been getting out of the car as well and moving around. Today's pretty busy and she's more hyped up, so if we do get out, it probably won't be for very long. I know, I see. You're very, very sweet. Probably won't be for very long. And I've noticed that this vehicle that's parked just in front of us, like literally just in front of us, there is a person in that vehicle, so I definitely would not prefer to get her out with someone so close to us. She's alert to something. I actually don't know what she's focusing on right now. Could be the truck that just drove by, but I wouldn't think we would get that kind of reaction with the truck. No barking, I could just tell she was intently interested. She's in my front floorboard sniffing around. Now we're in the cup holder. Good girl. It's a good girl. That's right. Oh, she's ready. Yeah, good catch. That's my good girl. That's right. That's right. Going back to the person in the vehicle in front of us. They've been there a while. I don't know if they're necessarily going to leave soon. I might take that risk and just... Ready? Get it. I might take the risk, get her out, and just move away from that area. I know. Oh my goodness, I see you. You're so sweet. You're being so good today. You are being so smart. So smart. Very, very smart. That's my sweet girl. That is my sweet baby. Are you just happy? Are you happy today? She's extra cuddly today, which is new. I've not gotten a lot of cuddles. She definitely likes the scratching, but she typically doesn't do a lot of soliciting of it. We just had a car pull in probably 40 feet, 45, definitely 40 feet or less away. So there will be someone getting out of there. She sees them. They're still in their car, but she knows. She knows people come out of cars, so she's aware. Let's see how she does. I'm going to stop petting. We're just getting overall more activity. I see, gosh, probably 8 total people right now moving around. And there was somebody else who got in their car sub-threshold distance, and she did not react to that. So we're seeing consistent progress in that area. The truck's big with a trailer, so that actually might be why she's a little more amped up about that. That's great, though. This is very good. Very, very good. Look at you being so smart. I know that's hard work. You ready? Oh, she's ready. Get it. Yeah, that's right. You ready? Another? Yeah. Get it. Yeah. Oh, you bounced it. You bounced it. Good job. That was right. That's so smart. So smart. That's right. Oh my goodness. That's right. Ready? She wants another one. Get it. Yeah, good job. Good work. That's a good girl. So, Pearl's overall goal is basically to be able to travel with her family, go out to parks, go for walks, ride in the car, do normal companion dog things without barking at people and dogs. So we have chosen strategically, we've chosen to work at Lowe's for our first location. We had a few people pull in, so I'm watching behavior. Again, about 50 feet away. That seems to be the trend today. 2 people. No barking, but we're watching. We allow watching. Watching is fine. We just don't want over threshold, so no barking, no growling. Wonderful. Yeah, my tummy growled. Did you hear it? You did. So again, okay, we chose Lowe's as our place that we want to work. Good girl, that's right. Because it is close to the owner's home. It's pet friendly, so when we want to actually go in, we'll have the freedom to do that. They have an active parking lot, but it's a large parking lot, so we can get her parked in a location that's under her threshold, so that when we're at this very rudimentary level of training, we can just literally sit in the car and watch people come and go and build her confidence at this very basic level. So big parking lot works for that. And then when we ultimately get to the point of wanting to go in, there are multiple entrances, so I can be strategic in which entrance I want to take her in. Maybe I want to choose an entrance that has fewer people coming and going whenever we first start doing that. I may want to go through, let's say, the garden area for our first ventures inside. That's typically what I'll do, especially off season, because there's not very many people. It introduces the concept of being inside of a space somewhat without us actually fully committing to being indoors. Good, that's right. So it has multiple entrances, and then person, they're within 40 feet. Oh, wonderful. No barkies. That was a good one. You ready? Get. Yay! Good girl. Good girl. They're still within 45 feet. They're working around their truck. And they're gone. Good job. And then once we do ultimately hit that point where we are ready to go inside and move around the space, those multiple entrances will be helpful, because if we need to make a quicker exit, I have a lot of choices with being able to get out effectively without having to keep her in that space for too long. And their aisles are very wide. It's a really large store, so if I need to work her in an area that maybe has fewer people, it's easy to do so. Lowe's just works very well. You're also not as likely to encounter other dogs at Lowe's. They're a pet-friendly store, but you're not going to have the same volume of dogs as you would if you went to a pet store. And we are really trying to focus on her reactivity to people first, and then we're going to tackle her dog reactivity once we have a really good foundation and improvement with her people reactivity. Because her dog reactivity is going to be a lot more challenging, partly because she's had a really negative history of over-threshold exposure to dogs. So that's going to be a much harder thing to tackle for that reason. And then it's also generally harder because we don't know how other dogs are going to react to her. And that can make that more difficult. So, if we are working around a dog and it decides it's going to bark and lunge at us, that's going to make Pearl's job of ignoring that dog way harder. Good job. That's nice. Good work. That's my good girl. That's my good Pearl. So that's why we've decided to go with Lowe's for our primary location. We've done some park work as well, but that's more for decompression. That's not so much for working on her reactivity right now. Although when we've gone, we just by happenstance, we've definitely seen people and we've had to work with that some. It's nice. You're doing so nice today. Yeah. Oh, she's in the zone. Look at that girl. Ready? Good job. You are so fast. You are so fast. Yes, you are so fast. So impressive. Good job. That's nice. We have two people coming out, walking towards us. They're really far right now, so she's actually not really caring. Yeah. No concern with them. They got into a vehicle really far away, so we're not particularly concerned. I guess I should be more specific. They're probably 80 feet away. Good job. That's right. That's a good girl. So that car that was right in front of us just pulled away, so now we have an open view through to the other side of the parking lot. So we're getting more visual stimulus now. Good job. She sees somebody again. They're well under threshold distance, so I'm not too worried about that. Good job. That's so good. She is my pretty girl. She is just a pretty girl today. You know, she is. I really like it. I really, really like it. So when we're working with dogs like Pearl, dogs that are reactive, hypervigilant, dogs that bark and lunge at things that they see, we don't... We have two other people moving out. She's alert to that. Good. Hi, good job. That was nice. Good work. He's carrying something big, so that was a little bit more concerning, even though that they're technically sub-threshold distance. Nice. When we're working with dogs like Pearl, reactive dogs, our goal is not to just make her stop barking, make her stop lunging, make her stop growling. That is not the goal. Classically, and still, there are some trainers who... someone pushing a cart towards us. They're moving pretty quick. That's very concerning for her. Oh, look at that. Good choice. Look at that. Good girl. You ready? Oh, yeah. Get it. Oh, my goodness. That was so good. That's so good. Very, very smart girl. That's very smart. Good. Classically, and still, even today, you will come across people who still... Watching again. She sees him again. That's excellent. He's loading his vehicle up. This is at a distance of definitely 40 feet, maybe a little closer even. You'll still come across people who still are using that as their, focusing on that as their target goal, right? So they're just trying to get the dog to stop barking, lunging, growling. And they're not so much thinking about where is this dog mentally. So they're just trying to stop that outside behavior instead of actually trying to change the dog's emotional response to the triggers that cause them to bark and lunge and growl. Good job. So typically, if you're going into this with that goal in mind, where you're just trying to stop the behavior, many of these people will choose to use corrections, whether it's verbal corrections or physical corrections, or any kind of specialty aversive tools to stop that outside behavior. And it works. It works. But it does not work to change the dog's emotional response. So what you will end up with is a dog that they are quiet, they are not lunging, they are not barking, and for those people who are just focusing on that, they feel like they've accomplished what they wanted. But the big problem with that strategy is the dog on the inside doesn't feel any better. They're still stressed. Good job. They're still stressed out. They're still afraid. And they just aren't showing it on the outside because the history of being punished for showing those symptoms of stress. So they'll stop showing the symptoms of stress, but inside they still feel that way. So for me, ethically, for me, I want to do better. I want to do better by these dogs because they deserve to not feel stressed. They deserve to actually be comfortable. So in order to achieve that, I know, I go into this type of training with the goal of changing her emotional response to seeing these triggers. And we do that by going very, very slow, working with her at sub-threshold distances, and then over time being able to alter that threshold distance because she's growing more confident and comfortable around triggers. And that can be it. I know, I love you too. You're being very sweet today. You're being very sweet. And that can be a slow process. But at the end of the day, that process allows us to actually create a dog that feels confident and comfortable and doesn't experience the urge to lunge and bark and growl because they're not afraid of the triggers anymore. And that for me is what I really go into focusing on with these dogs. That's a good girl. That's exactly right. Good job. That's good work. You'll hear me talk about, if you follow me on Facebook, Canis Major KY. If you follow me on Facebook, you will hear me talk about counter conditioning and desensitization. That is what I'm doing with Pearl. That's what that's called. So that process of sub-threshold, starting her far enough away that she doesn't react to a trigger. Good job. And then slowly being able to move closer to the trigger. That's your desensitization part. And then your counter conditioning part, which is what I'm doing right here. I'm pairing her triggers with good stuff. So for her, that's food. Good job. She would definitely also, good job, be happy if I paired this with toy. But there's a time and a place for toy, and in my car is not the time or the place for toy. So we're using food. Good girl, you ready? Get it. Yeah, good job. So yeah, desensitization, counter conditioning. If you, there's a person. Okay, so there's a person opposite side of the parking lot. They're just kind of standing around, hanging around. They're pacing, and that is movement that's worrisome for her. Moving with less purpose, she's a little concerned because if they're pacing around, they're not as predictable. She doesn't know what they're going to do next, so she's a little concerned with that. Good job. That's good work. So we'll see if she can acclimate. If they hang out long enough at that distance, she should acclimate to that and be okay. So she's going to go back and watch. Anyway, so desensitization, counter conditioning. If you want to get into this on your own, do some reading on those two topics. And when you work on this stuff with a reactive dog, and honestly, a lot of stuff, you'll hear me talk about it all the time because those two protocols are very broad protocols that you'll apply in different ways to a lot of different issues. But if you have a reactive dog, fearful dog, or even a dog that gets overly excited around triggers, desensitization and counter conditioning, that's what you're going to want to research. And that's what you'll want to apply with your own dog if you want to work on this. She's still watching. We're still watching. Oh, she's smoking, so that lady over there is hanging out smoking. That's fine. That's good for us because you get some long-term exposure to a trigger. They're every bit of 40 feet away, so they're also technically sub-threshold distance, or over-threshold distance, sorry. Of course, her threshold's clearly changing because we've seen multiple triggers at 40 feet today, and she has not reacted the way I've seen her react before, so we're making nice progress. She's moving away. Great. Good. It's okay. We're cool now. She says we're cool. We're cool. That's a nice burly. That's my good girl. That's my baby. That's my baby good girl. So yes. That is my baby girl. You're sweet girl today. You're sweet girl today. Checking on the person again. They're walking back, so they're walking away now. She's gonna watch because they're moving, but she's most likely not gonna react because they are moving away. Yep, she says, okay, whatever. I'm moving on to the next thing. Oh, that's nice. Good. Did a little check. Now she's back for a treat. Good job. That's good work. If we were to get out of our vehicle today, good job. If we did get out of the car today, the protocols we follow are the exact same. We're just out moving around on leash. So I would still be clicking and treating for disengaging from triggers. I might occasionally still toss a treat to her just to give her some extra reinforcement by delivering that food in a way that's exciting for her. Everything is the same. The only difference is we're out moving around on leash. And for some dogs, that does change their behavior. So some dogs, when they're on leash, they're more reactive. Good job. They're more reactive because they are very aware that they are restrained. They don't have autonomy. They can't move where they want to move, how they want to move, and that gets their stress levels up. I don't notice that there is a difference for Pearl when we are in a car versus out of the car on a leash with her reactivity. The one advantage we kind of have if we are out of the car and moving around on leash is with moving triggers. If I think someone's going to move too close for us, we can walk away. Versus in the car, we're stuck. We can't really go anywhere unless I started the car and moved. But yeah, that's a little bit of an advantage we have when we're out on the leash, is we can move away from something. Good girl. You are being very good. Yes, you're being very good today. Yes, you are. I don't want to do any tosses right now. Yeah, I don't want to do any of those. I hear someone talking, but I don't see them. Oh, she sees them. Yeah, she saw them. Good girl. Good job. They're sub-threshold distance, so she's not worried about them at all. Good job. That's nice work. Next time I film us, I will try to have my tripod so that I can film us out of the car moving around. Good job. That's my good girl. That is my sweet girl. That's right. Side note, and this behavior is, pretty much resolved, in my book anyway. She used to lunge and bark and try to chase cars that she would see if she was riding in the car. And I have not seen that behavior. I think the first day, she never really full-blown performed the behavior the way her owner described it to me. But she was definitely visually tracking cars. I never got any barking or lunging, but I saw a lot more interesting cars that I'm not seeing anymore since we've started this. Good job. So that behavior, again, in my book, is resolved. That's very good. And because I consider that resolved, I will generally not click for seeing cars. Because I don't consider them triggers, because she no longer considers them triggers. But that's up to her. So if she still found certain vehicles concerning, ready? Yeah, good girl. If she still found certain vehicles concerning, we would still be clicking and treating for those. But she doesn't. And I know that because her body language tells me that. That's right. And that's an important thing to bring up because a lot of people think that once you start doing food, ready? Yeah. When you do food to work on these types of behaviors, you're always going to have to use food. And that is not the case. Oh my goodness. That's a good girl. She wanted armpit scratchings. That's not the case. Our food, or whatever reinforcer you're using, our reinforcer is used to change her emotional response to triggers. Once we have changed the emotional response to the trigger, you don't need the food. Now, with that being said, if I take my dog out in public, any dog out in a public space, or when I ask them to work for me, I'm going to be reinforcing them in some way for them doing the behaviors that I'm looking for them to do. So, if I take her in there and she's not reactive to people anymore and we've done all the work, but I take her into Lowe's and I'm asking her to heel and sit and stay and down and, XYZ, and I ask her to work for me, I'm going to be paying her with something. And it could be food, it could be toy, it could be physical affection if she finds that reinforcing. It could also just be engagement with me. She's a border collie, so sometimes that's what they want, is just to engage with their person. That's nice, yeah. Excellent. We are probably about to wrap up and go today. Let me check our time. Yep. You've done it. Very successful day. Very successful. Yeah. Good job. So this is Pearl again. Pearl working on her reactivity. Yeah, you are. There's a person. You missed that one this whole time. He's got a cart. Concerning. So, sudden appearance of somebody. They've been here for a minute, but she hadn't noticed them. So we got a more concerned look because they suddenly appeared. Good job. Look at that. Good girl. You ready? It's good timing, too, because we're about out of her food. You ready? Oh, she's ready. Get it. Yeah.